Welcome to Jackie's Craft Table.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm using a darling stamp set from Penny Black and it's called XOXO. It's just a little stamp set and it comes with the cute image of this girl and the sentiment. And I'm going to be stamping that up on a piece of Desert Storm cardstock. I have to apologize for the state of my Mini Misti. I know it looks really horrible, but at the end of this video I'm going to clean it up and I'll show you what products I used. I can't believe I let it get this dirty because I really do love this tool. It's one of my very favorites. I'm stamping up this darling little girl with some Simon Says Intense black ink. I use this ink a lot, and so I think I need to buy a new pad. I tried to find a re-inker for it, but I don't think there is one. So I'm just going to have to go ahead and buy another ink pad because I end up stamping this up like 5 times. I'm coloring in this image with some Polychromos pencils, as well as some Prismacolors. In my set of 36 Polychromos, there aren't any skin tones. However, I'm using a light touch with the Prismacolors because the shade of this cardstock kind of acts as a skin tone all by itself. I'm also using a very soft touch with the Polychromos pencils. That way I can add in a lot of layers. I have all of the colors I'm using listed on my blog. I found it a lot of fun to color in her little skirt. I added in some extra folds at the bottom just to give it a little more dimension. My sister was visiting recently. She was helping me out with my kiddos while I was recovering from surgery. We just had a blast making cards together. I just loved having her out in Chicagoland. Between her and my daughter and myself, I don't know how many times we stamped up this image, but we made a lot of fun cards. This stamp set has seen a lot of love. I'm using the sentiment that came in this stamp set to make my own pattern paper, or at least a strip down the side. If I had the larger Misti, I could have just left the sentiment where it is and moved the paper. But I made it work with the Mini Misti. There's a slight curve in this image, and I'm using it to my advantage just to make kind of a wonky stripe down the side. So my stamping here does not have to be perfectly aligned. I'm going to stamp another X at the top of my paper just because I thought there was too much of a gap. So I'm allowing the image to kind of hang off the side, and it worked just fine. I wanted a strip of scalloped paper to run down the side of my image next to my sentiment. I don't have a die like that in my stash. I'm slowly building up my supply of dies. I really prefer using the dies that I have and cutting them out with my Sizzix Big Shot machine. I suspect that I'm a bit lazy. I don't like plugging things in. But I really do love my Silhouette machine. You can design your own images or buy them from their design store, which is what I did here. I'm just pulling it off my cutting mat. And there I have my cute scalloped edge. I'm cutting down my main panel just to make it a little bit more narrow. And I try to remember to stamp my logo on the back of the card before I start putting my card together. Now I'm adhering the panel with the sentiment on it. It doesn't fit my card base completely, but that doesn't matter. It's going to be covered up. And then I decide to stamp on another image. It was just too wide of a gap at the top. I'm using a sentiment from a Hero Art stamp set. I'll also have that on my blog if you're interested. Doesn't seem to have a name. I'm just looking at the set here, and it just comes with a lot of cute greetings. I'm using my Tombow tape runner to attach all of these panels. And more of the same for the scallop strip of paper. I've already scored my card base. Then I can use my bone folder to press that down flat and snip off the excess of the scalloped edge. And then I decide I want to add some twine, and I always do this once my card panel has been adhered. But I gently peel that off. I put my twine where I want it on the back of my card, and then I use some Tombow tape runner again over the twine. I attach my panel back onto my card base, and all I have left to do is tie a little bow at the side. I pulled out my little plastic drawer of embellishments. I was trying to decide if I wanted to add anything more to the card, but then I decide that I'm just going to keep it a little more simple this time. And now for the segment that I promised you at the beginning of this video. I'm going to try to clean off this dried-on ink, and it's been there for months and months. The product I'm using first is called Novus Plastic Clean and Shine. You can buy it in a set of 3 different cleaners. I'm using the one that just polishes and cleans. The other 2 are scratch removers. Unfortunately, it didn't work on this dried-on ink, but I am going to keep this on the side of my craft table as a reminder to clean my tools after each use. I think this cleaner will clean off the ink just fine if I don't allow the ink to sit too long. So, I looked in my husband's stash of cleaners and I came across this rusty old can of Oops multi-purpose remover. It took a bit of elbow grease, but this product took off the dried-on ink. After I get all the ink off, I'm going back in with some more Novus, just to get it good and shiny and to clean off any residue from the Oops cleaner. Now these tools look so shiny and new. Also for my Mini Misti, I'm using a great tip from Jennifer McGuire. I took one of the pages that came with it to my local copy shop and had them copy it onto a piece of cardstock and laminate it. That way, if I get ink on it, I can just wipe it off too, and it'll save me from buying more paper for it. Please like, subscribe, and share this video on your favorite social media. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you liked my card. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye.